Hello, folks. I hope you are all doing well. Yeah, I have been very busy these days. Of course, the other time we couldn't meet, and I said I was going to do an audio and all that. But and then Ken has been reminding me, and that you are still waiting for that. But I thought that I would be meeting you on Thursday, so we could do that. But that is fine. That is fine. So let us see if we can really understand this. It's on paraphrase. The last time we met, we talked about summary, that these are two literary practices that we engage ourselves in to be able to get information for the writing task. I hope that stuff is not lost on you. And so we did the summary, and then we said we'll do a paraphrase to complement whatever that we want you to know about making notes. Okay, so quickly, let us go through that so that when we meet on Thursday, we'll do slide 5. That's writing from multiple sources and all that. I hope the point is made. Yeah. So, using information from other sources. In academic writing, you are allowed to incorporate ideas, information, perspectives, data, words, expressions, ideas from other people. That is what rather authenticates your work as being academic, because you are not using your own understanding of it. You see, you are sharing the information with a larger audience, so you cannot afford to use only your own skills. As a philosophy in writing, we say that a neophyte researcher doesn't really have enough information to be able to share with an audience. So you normally read to create or generate knowledge, and then you share. But you generate the knowledge from where? From people who are well known in academia. Those we call the prolific writers, the experimented writers, the experienced writers, the experts, the authorities, the renowned writers, and all that. Those who have enough portfolio or publications that we can always rely on to generate knowledge. These are the people who give us the wherewithal. And so normally you have to read them and be able to get some information from them. But if you want to chronicle the information, we have always discussed that you can quote. If you see any definition that is so original, that is so unique, you can quote verbatim. That is called direct quoting, you remember? You can also just get the gist, the meaning, okay, of any information that you get from a prolific writer. Just the meaning, you incorporate it into your own write-up, or you can also paraphrase. That is when you restate, and that is what we are going to do now. Okay, so when you do this, your work becomes very authentic, credible, and reliable, because you have not used only your own wisdom. You have gathered and indeed garnered information, requisite information from original people. And so that is how to do it. And so since we did summary the other time, today, as I have announced, we want to look at paraphrase and then see how it resembles summary or how it differs from it. That is what we want to be doing this morning before we meet in the course of the week. Okay? All right, I think the point is made. So making use of information from other sources is encouraged in academic writing, especially if one knows how to do it well. If you don't know how to incorporate ideas into your writing, then you might not be an effective writer. So it's important for you to know how to do that. When we say get information from other people, you must also know the wherewithal, how to go about it, so that you don't falter in a phase of plagiarism. The information is somebody's own, and you are now imbibing, you are now taking it, you are now pulling it into your own work. And so you have to do it so well. Okay, so if you don't know how to paraphrase, don't attempt to paraphrase. But thank God, that is why we are doing this, so that you have the wherewithal and know the conventions that underpin the literary process called paraphrasing. Okay, I hope the point is made. But reading for meaning or relevant information for academic and other sophisticated texts can be daunting, can be difficult. You see, sometimes you read from these experienced writers, and then you see that you are unable to make any understanding of whatever it is that they want to say. Okay? But to be able to paraphrase, you need to understand what the original text or source says, so that you can say it in your own words, so that you can reword, so that you can restate. So you need to understand the original text very well before you can really make any sense out of it by way of a paraphrase. Yeah, and sometimes you need to be able to paraphrase so that you explain what the original author really intends to say to any other person who wants to understand. So you, the academic writer, you become the bridge between, the prolific writer who has put something for you to get information from, and then the other person who is so new and wants to understand. Somebody who is an expert will not choose language that you easily understand. So it's the academic writer's duty to understand whatever it is that is encoded so that you can decode same for any other person who wants to know. And so you paraphrase it. You say it in your own words and all that. That's the background. That's the background. Yeah, because I'm sure you know that it's quite challenging. When you read, prolific writers and all that, sometimes it's so difficult for you to really understand what it is that they want to say. But if you want to be able to paraphrase, it means you want to render a complex idea into its simplest form so that somebody else can understand. You see, that is a preamble. That is the background. Okay, all right. And so normally in your writing at this stage, if you want it to be called academic, then you know that you have three things to do when you read from other experienced writers. You either quote from them verbatim. You must do that sparingly anyway, by using quotation marks to offset the quoted matter. That is one way. The second way is to summarize from them and then use in-text. That is in the course of your own writing. And then the third is the paraphrase. You reword it and all that. So what is paraphrasing? Or the preamble that we have given, that it is important for you to paraphrase, to reword and all that. What is it? Paraphrase or paraphrasing is rewording or restating using about the same number of words of the original source. Oh yeah, I have always argued. In fact, when I was teaching summary in class, I told you that paraphrase is a bit flexible in the sense that it can even be longer than the original or shorter thereof, but normally it should be of the same length. Summary is not like that. Summary is about 1/3 of the stuff. I hope you still remember. Aha. But a paraphrase is at least the same number and all that. So please get the difference between summary and a paraphrase. It will help you. It will help you. So rewording or restating using about the same, about is very important, about the same number of words of the original source. Yeah, paraphrase really is akin to summary. It is just like summary, but that one pays attention to small details of the original. Summary does not do that. Summary does not use superfluous information. It doesn't go for details. It goes for meaning. Whatever the structure is, what does it mean? Then you pick the meaning. That is summary. But for paraphrase, you only say it in your own words, using simple words, substitutions, and then synonyms. But make sure that your paraphrase version is a lot more readable and understandable than the original, because that's the essence of paraphrase. It's a complex material. You want to make it quite readable, quite less difficult, quite easy for others to understand. And so make sure that you include just a few details, what summary will not permit. Or paraphrase, you can add some few details. Okay, right. So if you understand that a paraphrasing or a paraphrase is rewording, saying it in your own words or restating, then why do you paraphrase? That is the next step. We now know what a paraphrase is, but why do we paraphrase? A paraphrase substitutes your own words for the author's words and suggests that you have understood the source material. So basically, that is what a paraphrase does. You use your own words. That is what I call substitution. You use your own words, but probably words that are not as cumbersome as the original. You use words that are transparent and quite simple for any other person to understand the complex nature of the original. Okay? So that is one thing you must know. Okay? A paraphrase substitutes your own words. It uses your own words for the author's words and suggests that you have understood the source material. If you don't understand it, will you be able to substitute? Will you be able to render it in your own words? Will you be able to paraphrase? So understanding is key. And very soon, we'll go through some processes that will help us to understand the stuff so that we'll be able to render it in a simpler version. I hope the point is made. Okay, so why we paraphrase is that a paraphrase really substitutes your own words for the author's words and suggests that you have understood the source material. That is it. Number two, now why do you paraphrase? You paraphrase because it shows your grasp of the information and its evidence of your creative control. When you paraphrase, it means that you have understood an original complex form of something, and then you have used your own creativity to render it in other words. Have you understood that? Yes. So when you paraphrase well, it is evident. Yeah, when you paraphrase well, that shows evidence that you have really understood the source material and that you have creative control over it. Why creative control? Because you have changed the original words, you have substituted. And so if you are not very creative, you cannot do that. So if we're able to do any paraphrase, that shows your creativity, your originality, your comprehension, your full grasp of a complex material. I hope the point is well made. All right. And so it's a skill that you have to master so well. It's not easy to understand the intentions of another person. And so you must have some innate creativity to be able to do that, to be able to substitute and offer synonyms and all that, to render a complex source quite simple for others to understand. Yeah. So paraphrasing helps you to explain complex processes or ideas to others who may otherwise not understand them. So anybody who does a paraphrase is really helping academia, in a sense that you are helping people who would not normally understand complex ideas to understand because of the way that you break them down for them. Have you understood that? So when you're able to do a paraphrase, it means you are creative. It means you have comprehended the material. Do you understand that? It means you have understood the material and you are creative. It shows evidence of your creativity. It's important to paraphrase because plagiarism will catch you if you just do verbatim incorporation. Sometimes say it your own words. In academic writing, paraphrasing is an in thing. It is a lot better than verbatim quoting or even summarizing and all that. You get to know very soon. Okay? Right. Now, so if you know why you have to do paraphrase, then let us know the benefits of paragraphs. When you paragraph, what benefits do you derive from that literary process? Paraphrase helps one to remember complex material or difficult ideas better. Oh, I hope you understand. Especially somebody who doesn't really understand the style of a prolific writer, of an experimented writer, the fellow has to really read and read and read to be able to break down the thoughts of this prolific writer. And then when we are able to do that, it means you are breaking down difficult ideas or complex ideas. And then when you read your own paraphrase, you'll be able to understand whatever it is that the original author really meant to convey. Have you seen that? Aha. Now, when you paraphrase, it helps you to explain complex ideas. A paraphrase helps you, the academic writer, to explain complex ideas. I'm sure I have said that one times without number. In academic writing, paraphrasing is better than verbatim quoting. I just made that statement. Paraphrasing is better than verbatim quoting because it makes your work look more original. When you say it in your own words, you have not quoted. So anybody who reads it will think that you are showing originality. Even though you paid it from somewhere, people think that it came from you ab initio. And so that is the way to go. But as soon as you use direct quotes, I hope you know that people will know that you got it from somewhere. It is also correct. But what you should learn to do is to paraphrase more than to do direct quotations. I hope the point is made. Very, very important. Okay? Right. So in academic writing, paraphrasing is better than verbatim quoting, what we call the direct quoting, because it makes your work look more original. So originality is what is being emphasized here. Okay? Originality is what is emphasized here. All right. So let's continue. My dog is by my side, is disturbing me. All right, so let's continue. Now, paraphrasing involves paying attention to details and may even serve as a form of learning for the individual. I hope you got that. Yes. When we're able to paraphrase, it helps you to remember. And so that's a form of learning for the individual. Do you understand that? Because you need to understand the complex structure of the original before you can render it in your own words. And so when you go back to your own paraphrase, you will see that the understanding is very ready. And so that helps you to learn quickly. So your paraphrase forms basis for your quick learning, quick remembrance of important information and all that. I hope you have understood that one too. Okay? Now, what are the steps to follow in doing a paraphrase? When we're doing summary, I also taught you how to do that. And now we are on paraphrase. It is not different from summary. It is not. You better get that one. The only difference between the two is that summary really renders it in a briefer manner, condensation. But paraphrase renders it in almost or about the same number. Do you understand that? Same number of words. And then it has some details embedded in it. So let's see. Steps to follow. One, if you want to paraphrase, read the text and make sure you have understood it. Because if you don't understand it, you cannot render it in your own words. So read the text and make sure you have understood it. Especially during examination where you don't have time. I wouldn't recommend so many forms of reading. I will only recommend just one reading. My dog is disturbing me here. All right. So read the text and make sure you have understood it. If you don't understand it, you cannot render it in your own words. You cannot reword it. So that's the first step. 2, take note of the important ideas or complex concepts. We did that in summary. We say you should highlight complex concepts that need to be made clearer. You remember in summary I said you should highlight concepts and ideas, boldface. Yes, paraphrase takes the same procedure. Okay? So highlight them so that you can change them in your own words and all that. Number three, step number three, find words or expressions that are explanatory of the concept and make them easier to understand. You better understand it that when you underline the concept, when you highlight them, you need synonyms. But in paraphrase, be very careful. Your synonyms should make the source easier to understand. So let them be explanatory. Don't use big words, otherwise the meaning will be truncated. I hope the point is made. So you have highlighted the concepts, you have underlined the keywords, you have taken note of the bold-faced words, and then you want to substitute them. Make sure that you go for clearer or simpler synonyms, not technical words. If you explain a technical word with another technical word, you have truncated the meaning, and then you have not paraphrased well. I hope the point is made. So find words or expressions that are explanatory of the concepts and make them easier to understand. That easy understanding is very key, because you want people to really understand the complex material as you have reworded. So if your reword or your restatement rather makes it cumbersome, then you have failed ab initio to render it simple. Okay? Right. Now, when you have done that, then there's a caution. Do not use technical words. I just said that. In your paraphrase, do not use technical words. Rather, explain them. Any concept that is quite difficult or complex, explain it. That is why a paraphrased version can be longer than the original, because you are going to explain by using either idioms or expressions that will be longer than the concept. So have you seen, eventually, when you do that repeatedly, you might have a longer paraphrase than the original. And that is allowed. It's only summary that has to be 1/3 of the original. But for paraphrase, it can be the same length or it can be longer. And you have seen why it is like that. So all technical words must be explained. Another way to do a paraphrase is to change the structure of the vocabulary so that you do not unduly imitate the original structure. There must be a structural difference between your paraphrase and the original source. How do I mean? In fact, I have explained it up there, but let me say it again. If there's a concept or a technical word, we want you to use simple words, idioms, and expressions to explain that. Okay? Aha. Change the structure a bit. If it is an adjective, probably use a noun. Yes, use a noun. She is so beautiful that everybody looks at her 2 times. She's so beautiful, adjective. And so if you want to paraphrase, you can so use the noun. In fact, if you want to change the structure a bit, you can say her beauty is so outstanding or something like that. So beautiful and then beauty. Have you seen it? Aha. So that is structural adjustment. Structural adjustment, changing the structure a bit. So it is allowed in paraphrasing. Now, another caution in doing paraphrase is that keep your sentences short and simple. I have told you why. The original version is deemed complex. That is why you are paraphrasing. So should you also be complex? Yeah, just as I said, the original is already complex, and so people are unable to understand, and you are offering it in your own words for others to understand. So should yours also be complex? No. So keep your sentences short and simple. I hope that point is well made. When I come to class, I think I offer more explanations or examples, okay? And then I said you should keep your sentences short and simple. Yeah, because you are explaining, so you don't have to be complex or complicated. And then the very last one that I was on before the calls came in. I think was in your paraphrase, indicate who is doing what, why, when, where, to express the meaning of the original completely and accurately. You see? So your paraphrase states the one you are paraphrasing from the original. Do you understand that? Aha. Where is he? What is he saying? And all that. We'll illustrate that when we meet in class. Or at least I think it's in the manuals. So when the manuals come, you'll see all those things and then we'll interrogate them. I hope the point is made. Mm-hmm. And make sure that you indicate the source of your paraphrase to avoid plagiarism. When you paraphrase, let us know that you are paraphrasing what another person has said. So let's use APA to incorporate the person in your paraphrase. Okay? All right. Now, paraphrase, I believe you know, has 4 letters beginning it, P, A, R, and A. The P reminds you that you must put all the words in your own words. So the P reminds you that put everything, the original, in your own words. Okay? The A means arrange in a manner that you don't change the structure. Arrange in a manner that you don't change the structure. That is A. Okay? Then the R means that rearrange so that it captures the salient points. Okay? You don't change the structure, but rearrange. Okay? So that you know that you have put in all the important elements. Because in paraphrase, I believe you know that you have allowance for details. Okay? But go to the last one. It builds on the third, the penultimate. It says, ask yourself whether you have captured all the salient information. Ask yourself whether you have captured all the salient information. You see, that's also very important. So, para, that is what it is. Now, in doing a paraphrase, especially, we have legitimate ways of doing it and illegitimate ways of doing it. We'll show you examples in class and then you familiarize yourselves with the technical issues involved. A legitimate paraphrase is the one that shows the original author. You mention his name and then you don't pick from the original text, but you rather say it in your own words. You make sure that you make reference to the original author so that it doesn't appear as if you are the one, disseminating the information from your own reservoir of information. Let us know that you are getting it from another person and you only want to render it simpler. That is why you are paraphrasing. So give all the credit to the source. When you do that, that is called a legitimate paraphrase. An illegitimate one is when you borrow a lot of words from the original. Okay? The thing is complex, that's why you are paraphrasing. But if you are found to be using the exact words copiously from the original, that is called illegitimate paraphrase. 2, when you do a paraphrase and you don't indicate the author's name, then you are giving the impression that you are the owner of the information. And that is plagiarism, isn't it? So that is another illegitimate paraphrase. In fact, a whole lot of illegitimate borrowing and then not showing when the action happened, where it happened, what transpired and all that. If you don't do all this and you only pick from the original and you don't change the structure very well, then that is another illegitimate paraphrasing. All in all, for a paraphrase, you don't need to obey the structural looks of a summary, where I taught you that for a summary, you have to start from the margin line. Don't leave any space. You remember? But now for paraphrase, you can do it like that, or you can leave a space. Nobody will bat you any bats. Are you okay? But just like summary, you can refer to the source, the one who gave the information, the one whose information you are paraphrasing. Let us know the name using the conventions applicable in academic writing. I'm talking about documentation formats, APA or MLA. So do it right. I hope the point is made. Aha. And make sure that all concepts, all boldface words have changed. And in changing them, in summary, you may have to use direct synonyms. But in paraphrase, because it can be longer or shorter than the original, it doesn't matter. We advise that you use, expressions. Use expressions or in embed to make the original sound simpler and straightforward. I hope the point is made. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, paraphrase is just like a summary in so many ways, because you are taking from another person. But mind you, in academic writing, 3 ways of incorporating another person's ideas into your work are direct quote, that is the verbatim, where you don't doctor it, where you don't change anything, and you offset it in quotation marks. Okay? Today in class, we'll be dealing with multiple choice sources, and I will teach you what to do with direct quotes and all that, and what not to do. In imbibing the information from another person, you have some permissibilities, and there are occasions where you are not allowed to do that. Especially APA will tell you that when you have 4 typed sentences, then you can do a direct quote, offsetting the quote with quotation marks. But when what you are quoting goes beyond 4 typed sentences, then you have to do what we call indentation or hanging indentation. I will explain all that in class. All right. So for the time being, ladies and gentlemen, this is about the size of the encounter regarding paraphrase, which is one way of getting information from renowned writers, experts, and authorities into your own writing. And you have to remember that that is the way to go in academic writing. You don't have what it takes to pedal on the bare script. So you have to go and read from other people and get the needed information. And when you chronicle the information, we see when you have made notes, when the academic writing proper starts, you may go to the notes that you have made, and then you really bring it into your work. That is called pulling together or incorporating the ideas which have been summarized or paraphrased or direct quoted into your work. And there are conventions that underpin that. And thank God today we've been able to do the last one, which is paraphrase, which simply means rewording or restatement. Okay? All right. So we'll meet today for group 11 and group 12, and then Thursday for group 24, and Monday next week for group 65. Okay? So I will urge you, those of you who are unable to attend some of my lectures, if Monday is convenient, 3:30 to 5:30, you can join them. Because yesterday I was there and they were still registering, so I had only a few. And I believe since it's my group, my legitimate members can also join, and I'll be glad to have you there. Okay? So see you this afternoon for 11 and 12. See group 24 on Thursday, and see group 65 on Monday. All right? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.